So let's get into it. I'm going to show you my actual shelving and the 3 projects I've organized for spring and how I chose them, as well as a little pro tip for you, so keep watching. So if you're anything like me, you have a ton of yarn and a ton of ideas in your mind, but you don't know where to start. So this is a perfect time for me to bring you with me and we can go through this together. I've just arranged a new craft room, a new space for myself, so I have totally dedicated a little nook in my house towards my craft and towards yarn. So I want to bring you with me on that journey, and part of that is going to be real time showing you projects that I have upcoming, as well as little tips on how I choose my projects as a crochet pattern writer, as well as yarn colors that I like to use. Thank you for being here. Welcome back to my page. I'm Christina from City Bright Knits. Thank you. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to this video. So as I am just finishing my February crochet projects, I'm starting to think towards spring and I'm organizing my shelves. So I thought this is a good time to show you how I'm organizing them, what yarns I'm selecting for my upcoming projects, how to get a handle on what I might want to create next, as well as a few tips for choosing your color schemes. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you my actual shelving and the 3 projects I've organized for spring and how I chose them, as well as a little pro tip for you, so keep watching. Here are 3 tips you can use for choosing your upcoming holiday projects. Come join me. So let me show you my upcoming projects and how I've decided to start them this year, because I feel like if you're anything like me, you have these projects you've been meaning to use and the time just gets away from you and you're looking at this yarn again year after year and you're like, well, I meant to use that by Easter. So let's get into it. Here are 3 tips. 1, choose a yarn you've been dying to use. For me, it's this yarn that's on this shelf in the green basket. It's called Zafira. It's actually discontinued from hobby. This is how long I've had it in my stash. I have been dying to use it. So my idea has always been to make a patchwork cardigan or sweater out of this yarn. And this year I'm actually making myself do it. So it's front and center on these shelves, just so I see it every day. That's a key, like it has to be in your face, otherwise you're just gonna put it in a closet and forget about it. So front and center, use a yarn you've been dying to use. Number 2, limit yourself to only 3 whip ideas in your mind. Now 3 might sound like a lot, or maybe it sounds like a little, but really, if you're anything like me, you have so many ideas, the creative juices are always flowing. As soon as you start one thing, you want to start the next thing, but really commit yourself to 3 ideas. So for me, I've chosen 3 projects on these different shelves and I've ranked them in priority. So I have one that I would love to finish for Easter, a second one that's kind of halfway between spring and summer, and then another one that's kind of in the works that just goes with my colors. So I've chosen 3 projects that are really going to help me after February get into March and April projects. This is specifically helpful for me because I have an Instagram and social media presence, so posting, you want to go with colors that fit your theme. Sometimes seasonal works. A lot of people do have seasonal accounts and they have adorable things for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, and they're really holiday driven. Decide what works for you. If your account is all about cutesy, you're on top of the latest trends and easy to make crochet and knitting items for the different holidays, this is so helpful for you to really keep your yarn colors in coordination with the holidays. For me, I'm a little bit in between. I love to use colors, so I shy away from neutrals generally, so colors do kind of go with, like, you know, winter blues, February pinks, March greens, things like that. And for me, that works. So I've chosen my colors and I've stacked them on these shelves. So I'm gonna limit myself to those 3 project ideas so that I don't get behind on my posting. Because if I'm making something that's Easter colors and I'm posting it around Christmas, it's not gonna fit in as much with the trends. And for me, I find that making colors that kind of talk to the current season is helpful when you have projects that you're posting photos about. So I'm gonna try to specifically use these yarn colors in the upcoming months, kind of with an Easter mindset in mind. The 3rd thing, this is going to be a huge time saver for you. Here's my idea. The number 3 trick that we can use to help each other out: use a current whip that you already have in your storage. You can't lie to yourself, you definitely have a whip sitting around. I have many. The way I like to store my whips is in plastic bags so that I can see what it is that I've made, and I usually put a little post-it note down in there with the idea that I have in mind. Just revisit a whip that you already have going. So for me, I have some granny squares over here that are flower shaped, and I really would love to make a blanket out of them. Halfway done because I've already made the granny squares. It's just gonna be an effort of like putting them together, and this is gonna give me so much footage to post as I'm coming up with like social media ideas, and I don't have to start from scratch because I can use a lot of photos that I've already taken. I can talk in real time because I'm picking this whip back up, and also I can show the finished realization of it. And this is a great time saver for you, especially if you are worried about posting online and how do you make something every day? You can just revisit an old whip. And for me, I like to be genuine about things. It's kind of hard just to go through your gallery and to choose a photo that's pretty and post it. That's great for like Throwback Thursdays or Flashback Fridays or something like this. But I also like to be genuine and say like what I'm actually working on, considering any deadlines. So this is like holidays. If you're making something for a holiday, consider that deadline. Like, when do you need to have it done? When do you need to have it gifted, wrapped, photographed, worn, whatever it is? Consider your holidays. Also for me, I have to consider my campaigns, which means that I work with different yarn companies that, I'm promoting a campaign for them. They'll send me yarn for a product review or for a design concept or for something like this. So upcoming in March, I already have a few campaigns with hobby.com, and I'm going to be designing like spring celebrations. And this is going to be for me like ethereal like dresses, and I'm looking towards like party fashion and bridesmaids, kind of like something fun and springy, and that's the theme. So I'm looking towards my different campaigns that I have going on. That's a deadline for me. I'm going to be looking towards any holidays that are coming up, as well as personal commitments. So when you think about deadlines, you also have to think about your personal commitments. Like, if you're gonna make a baby blanket for a friend, you have to obviously consider when's the due date, because I know so many times it's ambitious to say, okay, I'm gonna make a baby blanket. You have to choose the yarn, pick the pattern, choose the stitch motif, make it, gifted, all this. And a lot of times those deadlines can really get away from you. So that's the number 3 tip that I have for really choosing your projects wisely. Choosing yarn you're dying to use, because then it's just going to be fun for you to use it. Limit yourself to only 3 whip ideas. I know you're bound to have more options floating around in your head, but really just schedule those for the next month or something, because then you are actually driven to finish in a, don't bite off more than you can chew. You'll actually finish the whips that you have scheduled for yourself if you only keep out a few. And then 3rd, consider your deadlines. So I hope that's showing you how I prioritize yarn I want to use, plus yarns I'm already using in whips, as 2 helpful ways for you to keep in mind when organizing and choosing your projects for spring. Be sure to like and subscribe for more.